Hey Cakenistas, it's Marisha, and you guys may be familiar with a little show called The Simpsons. And if you are or if you are not, you may still be familiar with Homer's favorite snack, which is that delicious looking yellow donut with that pink frosting and the sprinkles on top. I don't even watch the show and I know about that donut. So first off, I need you guys to subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't done so already. Like this video because it's about to get good and we're going to jump into it right now. I'm going to be using half box cake mix and half of my own from scratch chocolate cake mix. Now, the actual donut that Homer loves is like a vanilla jelly filled donut. So if you like to stay true to that donut, then please do that. I'm going to do chocolate because I like chocolate. I'm just halving the recipe from the box, and then I'm also adding my own moist decadent. Look how dark that chocolate cake batter is. It's gonna need a glass of milk for sure, but it is so good. So I'm just gonna combine these two together, and I'm gonna bake this off in a 7-inch springform pan. And I'm gonna use a springform pan because it's so high. It's probably about 4 inches high compared to the 2-inch cake pans that I usually use. So if you don't have one of these, just go ahead and bake off 2 layers and then stack them. So now that it's baked at 350 for about 30 minutes, I'm gonna level it off and then release it from the pan. Now we have to make our donut shape. So I'm going to put this on a cake turner and start off by removing the pointy edges from the cake. We need to round it off on the top and the bottom. And then we're going to remove the center, and you don't have to go all the way down. I would rather not go all the way down to the bottom because that's just more cake that I miss out on. You can definitely just make, a little dent in the center and everybody will know that it's a donut. So I'm just patting the crumbs in because it is chocolate. Chocolate cake tends to be very crummy. And then I'm going to crumb coat my cake up. Crumb coat, if you don't know, it just means you're adding a thin layer of frosting to trap all of those crumbs. And then this is going to go into the freezer for about 30 minutes. I've made this amazing looking yellowish brown frosting using the Wilton Buttercup Yellow. It's the perfect color for this. I'm going to coat the whole cake in a whole bunch of frosting. And then I'm going to use my cake turner and my small spatula to scrape it all off. Now it doesn't look smooth now, don't worry. Go ahead and pop it in the freezer for about 30 minutes to an hour. Now we gotta make Homer. We're gonna start off with his legs. I'm rolling some blue fondant, and then I'm going to make a couple little notches. And as you can see, I kind of left the center a little bit higher. I didn't want to give him too much of a thigh gap, so I had to work on that a little bit. And then I'm gonna put a toothpick in there. And this is a white ball, and I cut off one side of it because he's got a little bit of a beer belly. And I'm also gonna crimp the edges to make it more like a shirt. Now I'm going to work on his arms, and I'm just rolling a piece of yellow fondant, same Wilton gel dye that I used for the frosting, and I'm cutting that in half, rolling that up in a small white piece of fondant to be the sleeve. Then I just pinch those together. And then you just pinch the hand and then cut out some fingers. And now this is going to be his head. This took the longest because, detail. But you're basically starting off with like an oval shaped round, a little bit thinner for the neck. And then we're going to use a tool here to kind of indent where the eyes would go. And it also helps to bring the nose out as well. 2 small dots of white fondant. Now I'm going to add some tiny black fondant dots for pupils. And then this is going to be his mouth. It's like a brown football shaped piece of fondant that I cut, not in half. His bottom lip is a little bit more inward than his top lip. He looks a little greasy, but he's done. I added a nose, 2 little ears, and then some hair. And then I just attached that to the body. And he needs a collar. Not only because he actually has a collar, but I need to cover up that mess that I've got going on around his neck. Now Homer's gonna chill out overnight so that he could harden and be all ready for the next day. My cake was in the freezer overnight. Make sure to put your cake in the freezer when you're ready to try to make it smooth. Now you can do this 2 ways. Put a plastic wrap on it and use your hands to smooth it out. or put an actual glove on. It'll come out a little bit smoother and it'll work a little bit faster. Now this is just a great way of melting the frosting enough to make it smooth all the way around. And again, to do that, your cake has to be frozen. Now I've got some pink fondant here that I made by using some red gel dye, and I'm going to roll it out to about 8 inches all around, and then cut out a little center that looks kind of wavy. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the whole edge of the fondant. I'm going to apply that to my cake and smooth out the edges of the fondant. And for the pretty sprinkles on top, I rolled out red, yellow, white, green, blue, and more white fondant, and I just cut them into little pieces. Now I've finally moved this cake onto a pretty plate. Add those sprinkles on top. Oh my goodness, the cake starts to come to life. Look at how smooth I actually got it just by using that glove and my body heat. Body heat is magical. Homer's gonna stand up. I wanted him to kind of sit down in it, but that wasn't about to happen. He was standing because I've got those toothpicks in there. I added some shoes to his feet so that he wouldn't be, footless. And this is the beautiful Homer Simpson donut cake. It looks like it jumped out of the TV and came into my kitchen, and I was able to take a bite, and I loved it. I'm so happy taking this first slice. I said, look you guys, like you've never seen chocolate cake before. Couture and a Homer Simpson donut cake. Bye guys.